Tuesday here in New York? I don't know. Knicks and Hawks last night at the Garden. We'll dive into that in a minute. In the meantime, look at you at the cold open, Big Perk.
Hey, you know what it is when I'm in the building with my Chi-Town people.
That's right.
You know what they say, you know what Bernie Mac said? Chi-Town, don't pay a country boy nothing.
But people from Chicago don't say Chi-Town, right? Well, Bob, we won't. That's right.
We don't eat deep dish either. That's another
Well, that's you. I do.
Come on, Shay.
We'll do this later on. Anyways, let's go to what we saw last night. Hi, Wilbon. How are you?
Good. I'm happy to be with you guys with the A-team over here. Stephen A. just bailed because I was coming. He just said,
"No, it's a Knicks.
I don't even need him."
He emotionally, you know, he needs a day off.
Emotionally.
He needs a hug.
Today was one of those days. Okay, to the VO here. Knicks and Hawks at the Garden last night. And despite New York leading by 12 heading into the fourth quarter, the Hawks won by 1. Mikal Bridges' jumper, a miss as time expired. CJ McCollum, 32 points. Kuminga put in 19. Now the series tied up at a game apiece as it shifts to Atlanta. Here's CJ McCollum on the idea of him playing the villain role at MSG.
I am no villain. I'm a nice guy with 2 kids and a wife. I think it's admiration. Great, passionate fans and a really hostile environment. It's fun. It's basketball. It's the playoffs. And if anything, I think it's a sign of respect.
Obviously, I can control what I can control. And so poor decision making on my part. And a couple of possessions, they played great defense, knocked the ball in my hands. We just we got to play better with the lead. That's twice in the fourth quarter now that we've done that.
We got to play better in the fourth quarter. I don't know necessarily you, Brunson. We, as in the whole Knicks. Anyways, last night, did the Knicks give one away or did the Hawks steal one at the Garden? What do you think, Perk?
Oh, the Hawks stole that one. They went and got that one. They earned every bit of that win, and it started with C.J. McCollum, right? And it started with his veteran leadership and his poise. And what he done there was he set the tone from the jump, game 1, and he carried on to game 2. And then all of a sudden, we saw Jonathan Kuminga come in off the bench, right? I know C.J. is getting all the love, but Jonathan Kuminga, by the way, somebody for Golden State needs to be fired for making that trade. That's how tremendous this guy upside is when you look at what he brought to the table last night. His athleticism, the 19 points off the bench, just his whole championship experience and everything he brought to the table. But the Atlanta Hawks, I got to give a lot of credit to Quinn Snyder, the substitutions that he had out there, like having that lineup where he had the offensive guys out there. It was just a beautiful thing to see. And the crazy thing is that we witnessed the Hawks get a 1-point win on the road, and Jalen Johnson still hasn't played his best basketball.
But CJ, I want to go back to the CJ point of it all. Mm-hmm. I mean, he was the star of that last night because he's got a neophyte playoff team with guys still figuring it out, other than Kuminga. And he sort of settled them down by doing all these antics, I thought, with dealing with the Garden, basically telling his own players, this is not too big for us. We're fine. We belong in this spot. And I think Atlanta, absolutely to your question, Shay, stole a game from the Knicks last night. And yeah, the Knicks got into, as Brunson, referred, bad habits late in game 1 that carried over to game 2. Now what? I mean, can they eliminate those things? I'll tell you another bad habit. I thought they were past, Perk, the point of not involving Cat late in games. Jalen Brunson's the best player on the Knicks. Cat, at times, will have to be the most important player in a series. And when you have 2 shots with your Karl Anthony Towns in the fourth quarter, not enough. And by the way, I know I'm getting a far field. Can you go with double bigs? Mitchell Robinson was terrific early. And then he and Cat just sort of, I don't want to say they disappeared. Whether it was focus, whether it's something that Mike Brown will have to do, whether it's something Jalen Brunson as a forward general will have to do, those guys have to be incorporated, or we can see the same thing in Game 3 in Atlanta.
No, I agree. And 50% of the blame goes to Mike Brown, and the other 50% goes to Jalen Brunson. You're the head for us getting Karl Anthony Towns involved more, especially in the fourth quarter. And you're right. He is the most important player on the Knicks team. If the Knicks are trying to go to the promised land, they're going to have to feature Karl Anthony Towns. He's one of the best shooting bigs to ever play the game. He's one of the most skilled bigs to ever play the game. On top of that, they had nobody that could stop him, nobody that could guard him on the Hawks team. So I'm not understanding. As the point guard, Big Body Brunson, you're out there on the floor. How about slowing up the game and saying, you know what? Hey, get your big behind down here on this low block, or get to this nail. We about to run the play to get you downhill or get you to isolation or put you in the spot to put you in position to be successful. Love the idea of the big lineup. Mitchell Robinson, Carl Anthony Towns. We saw a lot of that in Minnesota with him and Rudy Gobert, and they had good success with that. So I just don't understand why the Knicks been battling this whole identity crisis offensively when it comes down to featuring Cat in the offense. We see his numbers this year took a dip anyway. I thought they got it right towards the end of the season because we were seeing more two-man action and Cat being involved. But Cat, this one, you can't blame this one on him. He played his behind off on both ends of the floor.
It was confusing to me, too. Like, there were some lineup changes there, and then you have both Brunson and Cat on the bench, and then you let the lead slip away. And then they went back to it again late in the game. The same thing. They had them both on the bench. And after the game, I know Mike Brown said we had tried those lineup changes a few times, and they were successful. Well, they weren't successful last night. Mm-hmm. One of those two should be on the floor at all times. I didn't understand that. Like, you watched it dissipate. And then we have the issue with C.J. McCollum. They had no answer for C.J. McCollum last night. He had 32 points. And so here was C.J. And if he was maybe seeking out Jalen Brunson on the offensive side. Listen to C.J.
You feel like you were maybe intentionally, maybe not looking to get that matchup against Jalen? I know you said it's not about beating him, but did you like what you had in those one-on-one scenarios when you were against him?
What you think?
Was that what you said?
What do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, listen, I know he said he's not the villain. I love it, too.
I love it.
He's not the villain. He's got 2 kids and a wife, but those kinds of answers is what makes him a little bit of a villain at MSG. Bigger issue for the Knicks last night. Was it the Knicks offense or the defense and the problems that C.J. McCollum posed? What do you think, Wilbon?
Well, offensively, they had their lowest fourth quarter output of the season, 15 points. So something offensively is going on, and so what do they do? I can't wait to hear Perk's answer on this. What do you do against CJ in game 2, knowing that they're sort of hunting Jalen? I mean, how much help are you going to give? Are you going to change anything up in a major way, Perk, for game 3?
So here's the problem. The problem is their defense. The problem is that they can't guard senior citizens at an old folks' home at recess. That's the problem, and especially Jalen Brunson. Think about all the superstars right now at that position that are still playing in the postseason. Anthony Edwards, two-way player. Jaylen Brown, two-way player. Cade Cunningham, two-way player. SGA, two-way player. Do you realize in this series that C.J. McCollum is 9 for 12 when Jalen Brunson is guarding him? At some point, Jalen Brunson got to have some type of pride and say, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to be able to slide my feet just a little bit. Just a little bit. I'm going to take some pride. You're not going to continue to pick on me. Even the floater down the lane last night. That was a horrible defensive effort by Jalen Brunson on the isolation up top. He basically knew he had it on his mind. I'm going to let him go by me, and I'm going to do the wraparound trying to get a steal. But again, if you see a guy cooking like that, I'm looking at Mike Brown, and I'm saying, at what point is in a double team to help Jalen Brunson out?
To support your point, the Hawks shot 11 of 19 when guarded by Jalen Brunson in Game 2, including 4 of 5 in the fourth quarter.
You see what I'm saying? And look,
that's Luka-like.
Hey, look, you know what's crazy?
The fourth quarter is a problem.
You know,
my boy Eddie House, right? That's my brother, my Butu brother, who I won the 2008 championship with. Eddie House was known as a scorer and a shooter that will light you up from anywhere, a spark off the bench. I watched Eddie House play defense. I watched Eddie House in crucial moments that we needed him to slide his feet, get up over pick and rolls, take some self-pride and slide his feet. I'm not asking Jalen Brunson to go be Luke Dort or Stephon Castle. I'm asking Jalen Brunson